"You've got about 15 minutes, I said. Jessica Hartwell blinked at me like I just told her the Caterpillar plant ran on fairy dust and TikTok videos. "Excuse me," she said. I slid my security badge across the conference table. It stopped right between her overpriced kombucha and the severance paperwork. 15 minutes until the wheels come off. Maybe less. I stood up, smoothed down my shirt. Good luck finding my documentation. Then I walked out of that conference room for the last time. My name is Howard Patterson. I'm 48 years old, and I just got fired by a 26-year-old who got her job because her grandfather owns the company and thinks manufacturing experience means anything that happened before she got her MBA from Northwestern. Let me back up and tell you how we got here. You can tell a company's real priorities by who gets the corner office and who gets the factory floor. At Hartwell Industries, the factory floor smelled like metal shavings and honest work. The corner office smelled like expensive perfume and unearned authority. I'd been keeping the supply chain running smooth since 2013, back when we still made John Deere hydraulic components and Caterpillar engine parts right here in Phoenix. Senior Operations Manager was my title, but what I actually did was more like being a traffic cop for 10,000 moving parts that all had to sync up perfectly or everything stopped. Our facility sits in the industrial corridor near Sky Harbor, where the big freight lines come through. Real manufacturing, not some tech startup pretending to disrupt logistics. We employed 340 people on the floor, mostly union guys who'd been welding and machining since before Jessica was born. Good people, skilled people. The kind who show up at 6 a.m. and don't leave until the job's done right. The trouble started when Jessica wheeled her standing desk setup into the executive wing. Kid had an MBA from Northwestern and exactly zero understanding of how you actually make things and get them where they need to go. But she had opinions, lots of them. Her first all-hands meeting, she stood up there with her kombucha and started throwing around words like operational inefficiency and legacy overhead and how we needed to embrace lean methodologies. I sat in the back row, arms crossed, thinking about the 60-hour week I'd pulled last month when our main supplier had a plant fire in Nogales. I'd kept production running by calling in favors from vendors I'd worked with for a decade. She wanted to eliminate those relationships and use some algorithm instead. We're entering a transformative phase, Jessica announced, clicking through slides that looked like she'd stolen them from McKinsey. Legacy processes are holding us back. We need fresh approaches, modern thinking, and honestly, fewer people stuck in old ways of doing things. People shifted in their seats. The floor supervisors looked uncomfortable. These were guys who'd served in Desert Storm, who'd worked the Motorola plant before it shut down, who'd seen what happened when companies stopped respecting experience. I didn't move. I'd heard this speech before, just different words. Old equals bad. Experience equals expensive. Nobody under 30 thinks they need the guy who remembers when we actually made things in America. She looked right at me during that last part. Direct eye contact. Fewer people stuck in old ways. I held her gaze and smiled, the kind of smile you give someone when you know something they don't. What Jessica didn't know, couldn't know, because she'd never bothered to ask, was that I'd built the inventory management system, keeping our entire operation running. Every night at 2 a.m., my algorithms balanced stock levels across our 3 warehouses, caught supplier delays before they hit the Caterpillar line, kept the whole thing from falling apart. I'd written it all back in 2015 after the 3rd time someone's quick fix almost shut down our main production line. Those systems were mine, legally mine. My contract was explicit about intellectual property. Anything I created on my own time using my own methods belonged to me. The company could license them, but only while I was actively employed and providing monthly updates. No employment, no updates, no license. I'd shown that contract to our lawyer when I signed it in 2013. He'd read it carefully, looked up at me and said, "Keep good records, Howard. This is Arizona. Right to work means they can fire you, but they can't steal your work." I kept excellent records. Jessica kept talking about her vision. Just-in-time everything, AI-driven logistics, agile operations, synergy. I stopped listening and started thinking about my daughter Amy's tuition payment due next month. She's 19, sophomore at ASU, pre-med track with a 3.8 GPA. Smart as hell, wants to be a pediatrician like her mom was before the cancer took her 5 years back. I thought about Amy's MCAT prep course she'd be taking this summer, about the health insurance covering her asthma medication, about the pension that would max out in 4 more years when I hit 52 with full early retirement benefits. I'd been at this 11 years, working through the recession when half the other plants shut down, keeping us profitable when everyone said American manufacturing was dead. I could make it 4 more. That's what I told myself. 2 weeks after that meeting, I got the calendar invite. Subject line: Quick Sync HR. No agenda, no context, just a 4:30 p.m. slot on a Thursday afternoon. I'd watched this happen to other guys over the years, good men with 20, 25 years of experience. The late-day meetings, the carefully neutral HR rep, the manila folder with severance terms. They never did it in the morning. Too risky. Someone might make a scene, ruin everyone's productivity. Better to wait until the end of the day when people are tired, ready to go home, less likely to fight back. I showed up at 4:28 p.m., professional to the end. Jessica was there, sitting casual on the edge of the conference table with some consultant named Brad who wore $200 designer sneakers and called himself an operational efficiency specialist. Lisa Martinez from HR sat in the corner, looking like she'd rather be anywhere else. She'd been with Hartwell for 8 years, knew what this was about. Probably had kids at home wondering why mommy looked so stressed lately. Lisa pushed a branded folder across the table toward me. Howard, Jessica started, and I could tell she'd practiced this in the mirror. You've been an important part of Hartwell's journey, really important. But we're restructuring to align with where manufacturing is heading. More agile, more data-driven, more forward-focused. I didn't blink, just waited. Behind her, through the window, I could see the second shift heading in. Good people. Ray Martinez welding hydraulic fittings for 15 years. Tommy Rodriguez running the Haas CNC machines like a concert pianist. These people knew their jobs, respected their tools, took pride in making things that lasted. We're reimagining certain legacy positions. Jessica continued. Translation: Old man, you're expensive and you make me look stupid when I suggest things that won't work. We think this is the right time for you to explore new opportunities that better match your experience level. Brad nodded like she'd just solved world hunger. Lisa slid the severance agreement forward. 3 months salary, COBRA health insurance for 18 months if you enroll within 60 days, and outplacement support services. I picked up the paper, scanned the legal terms. I used to review all our vendor contracts before Jessica decided that was bureaucratic waste. Any questions? Jessica asked. She was smiling. Actually smiling, like she'd done me a favor. That's when I said it. You've got about 15 minutes. I didn't go home. Walked 2 blocks down to Murphy's Place, this veteran's bar where the owner knew to pour Maker's Mark without asking. The place had that comfortable worn-in feel of a real working man's bar. Pool table with felt that had seen better days, jukebox that still played Merle Haggard, and walls covered with unit patches from guys who'd served everywhere from Vietnam to Afghanistan. Found my usual corner booth where I could still see the Hartwell building through the window. 12th floor, all lit up like nothing had changed. Phone went face down on the scarred wood table. No calls yet, no frantic texts, just the low murmur of ESPN on the TV and the crack of pool balls in the back room. Steve Rodriguez brought over the bourbon ex-Navy, ran supply logistics on destroyers before retiring to Phoenix and opening this place. He was maybe 58, gray beard, steady hands from years of not panicking when things went sideways at sea. His nephew Tommy worked our CNC line. Good kid, sent half his paycheck to his mom in Tucson. He set the glass down, looked at my face, looked at the phone, back at my face. They finally do it. Yep, how long you give them? 15 minutes, maybe less. He pulled out the chair across from me, sat down with his own coffee. You remember when I told you about San Diego? I did, but I let him tell it again. Sometimes you need to hear you're not the only one. These stories matter. They remind you that experience has value, that loyalty should run both ways, that a handshake used to mean something. 2019, Steve said. 18 years at General Dynamics, systems coordinator, security clearance, the whole thing. New director comes in, Stanford MBA. Couldn't tell a supply depot from a Starbucks, starts talking about optimizing human resources and right-sizing legacy positions. He took a sip of coffee. Fired me on a Thursday. By Monday, their entire West Coast logistics network was down. Turns out I was the only one who knew the backup protocols for the classified systems. They call you back? Oh yeah, offered me contractor rates to fix it. I told them my consulting fee was 5 times my old salary, minimum 6-month contract paid up front, He smiled. They paid it, took me 2 days to fix what they broke. Then I walked. That's when you bought this place. That's when I bought this place. Best decision I ever made. He gestured around the bar. No MBAs, no performance reviews, just pour good drinks, listen to people's problems, go home when I want. Tommy helps me with the books now. Learning the business side. Kids got a head for numbers. My phone buzzed. Once, twice, then started vibrating continuously. Steve glanced at it. That them? Yep. You gonna answer? Nope. He nodded. Stood up. You need anything, I'm at the bar. Tommy's coming in later for his usual after-shift beer. Might want to hear how his Uncle Howard's doing. I picked up the bourbon, took a slow sip. The burn felt good. Felt real. Here's what nobody tells you about being the person who holds everything together. You become invisible. Not because you're bad at your job, but because you're too good at it. Things just work. Systems hum along and people forget someone's making that happen. The Caterpillar line hits its numbers. The John Deere components ship on time. The safety protocols keep OSHA happy. They forget until you stop. My algorithms weren't complicated, just solid automation built on 11 years of watching things break. Every night at 2 a.m., they'd run through the inventory database, balance stock levels across our 3 warehouses in Phoenix, Tucson, and Flagstaff. They'd catch supplier delays from our vendors in Mexico before they hit the CAT line. They'd reconcile shipping manifests with our trucking partners who ran freight up to Denver and Salt Lake. Every morning at 6 a.m., they'd verify our API connections with John Deere's procurement system, test backup protocols, validate safety compliance reports for the state inspectors. Boring work, critical work, the kind nobody notices until it doesn't happen. I'd tried explaining this to Jessica about 2 months back. Showed her the dashboard, walked her through the error logs from last year's supply chain disruptions, demonstrated how one small failure at a no-gal supplier could cascade into shutting down our main production line, costing us $50,000 in missed deliveries to Caterpillar. She'd listened for maybe 30 seconds before cutting me off. Right, but modern ERP systems have built-in redundancy, she'd said, not looking up from her iPhone. This kind of manual oversight is anti-agile. We need to trust the data. The data fails, I'd told her. That's why we have oversight. That's old thinking, Howard. We're moving toward autonomous operations. I'd pulled up the logs from last October when our autonomous operations went down for 12 hours during a monsoon that knocked out power to half of South Phoenix. Showed her how my backup systems kept the John Deere line running while everyone else panicked. How we delivered every single hydraulic assembly on schedule while our competitors missed their commitments. She'd scrolled through maybe 3 lines of the incident report. Exactly, she'd said. Single points of failure. That's what we need to eliminate. I was the single point of failure she wanted to eliminate. My phone lit up again. Lisa from HR, then Brian Wilson from procurement, then a number I didn't recognize with a 602 area code. Probably someone from corporate headquarters downtown. I let them all ring. The thing about systems is they don't explode all at once. They degrade. Small failures cascade into bigger ones. It's like pulling cards from a house of cards. Nothing happens with the first few, then suddenly the whole thing collapses. You get warnings if you know what to listen for. They weren't listening. Text from Brian popped up on my screen. Howard, inventory system acting weird. CAT orders duplicating. You know what's going on? I typed back. Check the documentation. 3 dots appeared immediately then. What documentation? I put the phone back down. See, there was documentation, 247 pages of it. Process flows, system diagrams, recovery procedures, vendor contacts, safety protocols. Complete blueprints for everything from our relationship with the Caterpillar procurement team to backup suppliers in Juarez when our primary vendors hit capacity limits. I'd written it myself over the years, updated it quarterly, kept it current, stored it in the shared drive under a folder, clearly labeled Critical Operations H. Patterson. Every new hire got walked through the relevant sections. Every supervisor had access. It was institutional knowledge, the kind that keeps a factory running when Murphy's Law kicks in. Jessica had that folder deleted 6 weeks ago during a storage optimization audit. Said it was legacy bloat taking up server space. I'd objected in writing, sent her a detailed email explaining why that documentation was critical. She'd overruled me with a response that said, "We're moving toward cloud-based knowledge management." Static documents are a crutch. I'd kept my own copy, of course, on my personal laptop, which was currently in my F-150 parked outside, along with backup copies on 2 external drives and a printed version in my home office. You don't survive 11 years in manufacturing without learning to cover your ass. The TV over the bar flickered to the local business channel. Channel 12 News was running their evening business segment. A breaking news banner scrolled across the bottom. Hartwell Industries stock drops 8% in after-hours trading amid reports of operational difficulties. Steve glanced at the screen, then at me, raised an eyebrow. Didn't say anything. That's the thing about good bartenders and Navy men. They know when to talk and when to shut up. My phone started ringing continuously now. Different numbers cycling through. Same panic, different voices. I could picture the scene back at Hartwell. Jessica probably pacing around the conference room, Brad the consultant looking at his phone, wondering if his invoice would get paid, Lisa trying to figure out if this was her problem or someone else's. Text from Lisa, "Howard, please call me. We need to talk about transition procedures." Text from Jessica, "Hey, hope you're doing okay. Quick question, where are the vendor backup configs stored?" Then another from Jessica, "This is kind of urgent. Please respond when you can then." "Howard, I know we didn't end things great, but we really need your help here." I finished my bourbon, held up the empty glass towards Steve. He brought the bottle over, poured 2 fingers without asking. Tommy Rodriguez had come in from his shift, still in his work clothes, Caterpillar safety vest hanging over the back of his chair. He nodded at me, raised his Bud Light. "Heard you got the axe today," Tommy said. "No judgment, just fact. Sorry, man." "That sucks. It happens." "Yeah, but not to guys like you. You kept that place running." He took a swig of beer. My supervisor's already freaking out. "Says the inventory system's going crazy. Orders coming in duplicate, some not showing up at all." Steve looked at the TV, then at me. "Stock's down 8%, he said quietly. "Just getting started," I said. Tommy leaned forward. "You do something to their computers?" "Didn't touch a thing. Just stopped fixing them." "They're a difference," I looked at him. Tommy was a good kid, 28 years old, sending money home to his mom, taking business classes at Phoenix College at night. He deserved a straight answer. Big difference. Sabotage is breaking something that works. This is just letting broken things stay broken. Tommy thought about that, nodded slowly. "Like when you stop changing the oil in your truck." "Exactly. Engine runs fine for a while, then it doesn't." Behind me, the TV anchor was talking. Sources inside Hartwell Industries report widespread system failures affecting multiple production lines. The company's stock has lost nearly 10% of its value in extended trading. I picked up my phone, scrolled through the messages. 31 now. The desperation was ramping up. Messages coming every few minutes. I could track the progression of failure through their increasingly frantic tone. My daughter had texted earlier, before the meeting, "Good luck today, Dad. MCAT practice test went well. Love you." Amy didn't know I'd been fired. Didn't know her tuition just became uncertain. Didn't know her dad had spent 4 years counting on a pension and benefits that just evaporated. But she'd graduate knowing her father didn't beg, didn't crawl back, didn't compromise his principles for people who never valued them. The MCAT. Amy was taking the practice tests now, getting ready for the real thing next spring. She wanted to be a pediatrician, help kids like her mom used to before the cancer. Medical school would cost a fortune, but she'd earned a partial scholarship to ASU with her grades. Kid had a 3.8 GPA in pre-med, volunteered at Phoenix Children's Hospital, tutored other students in organic chemistry. She got her work ethic from her old man, but her brains from her mother. The phone buzzed again. Jeffrey Hartwell this time, the old man himself calling direct. Jessica's grandfather, founder of the company, guy who'd built Hartwell Industries from a 12-person machine shop into a 400-employee manufacturing operation. I'd met him exactly twice in 11 years. Both times he'd seemed like a decent enough guy, old-school businessman who understood that making things required people who knew how to make things. I watched his call ring through to voicemail. Steve called from the bar. Another? I looked at my glass, still half full. Not yet. What happens now, I thought, is they learn what I was actually worth the hard way. By 11 p.m., my phone had 89 unread messages. I'd stopped counting after 60. Tommy had gone home to study for his accounting midterm, and the bar was down to the regulars. A couple of off-duty cops from the precinct, an airline mechanic from Sky Harbor, a guy who worked nights at the UPS hub. Working people. People who understood that when you break something, it stays broken until someone fixes it. I drove home around midnight, left the phone in the truck, and slept better than I had in months. No 2 a.m. anxiety about whether the algorithms were running. No 6 a.m. checks to make sure the cat line had its parts. Just solid, uninterrupted sleep. Woke up at 7 a.m. to find my phone had exploded overnight. 167 messages, 52 missed calls, 7 voicemails from numbers I didn't recognize. Made coffee. Strong black, using the French press Amy gave me for Christmas. The one she saved up for working part-time at the Barnes & Noble near ASU. Sat at the kitchen table and finally started reading. The first email had timestamps. That's what made it beautiful. 2:34 a.m. Inventory sync failed. Cat hydraulic orders duplicating. 3:17 a.m. Supplier portal authentication errors. Vendors locked out. 3:52 a.m. John Deere production scheduling through errors. Lines stopped. 4:31 a.m. Safety protocol database corrupted. OSHA compliance down. 5:15 a.m. Backup verification failed. No one watching the overnight systems. 6:45 a.m. First shift couldn't access work orders. Production delayed. 7:20 a.m. 15 suppliers called about payment discrepancies. By 8 a.m., when the business day started, Hartwell Industries was dead in the water. I read through Lisa's emails. Professional panic. The corporate kind where people use lots of words to say we're screwed. Howard, we understand you're no longer with the company, but we're experiencing critical operational issues. Any guidance you could provide would be greatly appreciated. Then Brian's, man, I don't know what's happening, but everything's broken. Inventory, suppliers, production schedules, all of it. Can you at least point us in the right direction? Then one from someone named Jennifer in IT. Mr. Patterson, I'm new on the operations team. They're asking me to fix issues with systems I've never seen before. Is there any documentation I can reference? I deleted them all without responding. The Arizona Republic picked it up by 10 a.m. Hartwell Industries shares fall 12% as widespread operational outage enters second day. Second day. They still thought this was temporary. My phone rang. Unknown number, I answered. Mr. Patterson, professional woman's voice. This is Rebecca Hayes from Summit Manufacturing Solutions. I hope this isn't a bad time. I've got time. We've been following your career for a while. We're impressed with your work. She paused. We'd like to make you an offer. Senior Operations Director position, 6-month minimum contract, 40% salary increase, full benefits, equity stake, and most importantly, you'd be working with people who actually understand manufacturing. What's the catch? No catch. We need someone who builds systems right the first time, instead of breaking them and calling it innovation. We're tired of cleaning up after MBAs who think supply chain means Amazon Prime. I almost laughed. When do you need an answer? Take the weekend. Think it over. But Howard, we've watched you hold that operation together for years. We know what you're worth even if they didn't. 3 days went by. The messages kept coming, getting more desperate. Jessica tried calling from different numbers, left voicemails that went from casual to panicked. Hey, no hard feelings, right? We just need some quick help here. Howard, please, the board is asking questions I can't answer. Howard, I'm sorry, okay? I made a mistake. Can we talk? I deleted every single one. On day 4, my daughter called. Dad, you okay? You haven't been answering my texts. I'm fine, honey. Just dealing with some work stuff. What kind of work stuff? You sound different. Amy deserved the truth. She was 19, not 9, smart enough to handle it. They let me go on Thursday. Silence. Then, they fired you, after 11 years, new management. They wanted younger, cheaper, more agile. I used air quotes she couldn't see. Dad, that's age discrimination. You should sue them. Maybe. Right now, I'm just letting things play out. What does that mean? It means the company's having some operational problems without me there. Another pause. Good. I hope they crash and burn. That made me smile. How's the MCAT prep going? Practice test scores are improving. Dr. Martinez at the hospital thinks I'll do fine on the real thing. She paused. Are you going to be okay? What about my tuition? Health insurance. I've got it covered. Don't worry about that. I got a job offer yesterday. Better pay, better company. Really? That fast? Turns out experience is worth something to people who know what they're looking at. I'm proud of you, Dad. Week 2, the lawsuit started. First was a mid-size parts supplier in Tucson, whose entire delivery schedule ran through Hartwell's system. Their operation went down, contracts got breached, penalties kicked in. They filed for $1.8 million in damages, then 3 more suppliers, then 5. Then a class action from smaller vendors who couldn't get paid because the billing system was corrupted. By week 3, OSHA opened an investigation into whether Hartwell had properly maintained safety protocols after eliminating my documentation system. Turns out deleting compliance records is a federal issue. That's when the subpoena arrived. Certified mail, thick envelope, law firm letterhead I recognized. They weren't suing me. They wanted me to testify. Mr. Patterson, you are hereby requested to provide expert testimony in the matter of Stevens et al. Versus Hartwell Industries. Your operational expertise and documentation of prior warnings are material to this case. I accepted Summit's offer the next day. 6 months later, I sat in a deposition room explaining how 11 years of institutional knowledge walked out the door in 15 minutes. How Jessica's grandfather built a solid company that his granddaughter dismantled because she thought experience was expensive and algorithms were magic. The settlement was $822 million. Jeffrey Hartwell stepped down as CEO. Jessica quietly left the company, her LinkedIn now describing her as an operational transformation consultant, which is code for unemployed. I never reached out, never gloated, never even checked their website. I was too busy building something that actually worked. Amy got into medical school at the University of Arizona with a full scholarship, wants to specialize in pediatrics, help kids like her mom used to. That's the thing about revenge. The loud kind, the public kind, that's just theater. The real kind, the kind that lasts, is when you walk away and build something better, when you prove that what they threw away was valuable, just not to them. 11 years I gave that company. They threw it away in 15 minutes. I got it back in 6 months. That's not revenge. That's just math. Sometimes the best way to show someone what you're worth is to stop doing what they never noticed you were doing in the first place. They say experience is expensive, but inexperience costs a hell of a lot more.